আপনারা দেখছেন টকিং পয়েন্ট, সৌজন্যে স্যাপ সলিসিটরস, যে কোনো আইনি পরামর্শের জন্য।
Welcome back. Our guest today is Dr. Zaman, a medical research scientist and also an author. Dr. Zaman, we were talking about your book, and a very interesting book about the different aspects of Quran, Quranic text. You mentioned something about unity and diversity in humans. What is all that in your book?
That is a very interesting question. What is unity and diversity in humans? We are all human beings. We belong to human species. But though we have same kind of anatomical structure,
Right.
we have difference in our smallest regulatory unit, which is DNA, which actually distinguishes us from the parental background who we are. So going into that, what I found that there was some kind of difference also in the human culture.
Right.
Not only culture that brings out the faith in human community. That was related to my question, if I am a human being, so is the other person who is walking on the street.
Right.
So is the person who is next door, my neighbor. So what is the difference? And with my search in that line, as I was doing research on the faiths line, I found each and every person has different kind of faith. Some believes, some does not believe. But the
Also
thing
in degrees.
In degrees, the question is, does it matter who is believing in what? So there lies the diversity. Though we are human being anatomically, we have difference ultimately in the molecular level, in the chemical level. But also we have difference in our mental level. Like we call smallest regulatory unit in our body DNA. Similarly, in our thought process, scientists, they call MEME. MEME is the regulatory unit of thought process. So it may be different. The MEME is acting in a different way in us, or we are thinking in different way. We are believing in different ways. Some are believing, some are not believing in religion.
Right.
So that is the diversity. And the next thing that
But
is,
what happens in cases of twins?
oh, that is a very medical thing. If they are identical, even then they are different people. And if they are not identical, that is, of course, they are completely two different people. Now coming to the last point that I found interesting in my search, that who am I? And there I came to find that Quran has very nicely, in a very clever way, I would say, clever way, has drawn something very artistic. And two of those artistic ideas which caught my mind was one, which is the structural design of the Quran. As we Muslim believe that nothing our prophet, because Quran was delivered through prophets, my prophet Muhammad, he was the medium through whom the Quran was delivered. He always claimed as the messenger. So whatever happened in the Quran, the way he compiled it must have been according to God's direction.
Right.
So what I found in the compilation, in the composition of the Quran, a very artistic fashion, the way it comes up like a pyramid,
Right.
keeping the smallest part, that means which has only one surah on top, and the lowest part heavy like 14 surahs.
Right.
So, gradually that way, that is a pyramid. But the best thing which caught my eye was the way Quran described our Prophet Muhammad. The Quran developed in such a way, starting from the beginning when he was orphan, and then gradually building up when he became quite stable and powerful, and he not only was portrayed in the Quran, his habit, his clothings, the way he was,
His behavior.
His not only as a model judge of the community, how he was judging, how he was solving problems, all those were given in such a way, he was talking.
He was running the first Muslim government. Islamic government.
Everything has been described in the Quran in such a way that I, after even 1400 years, I can visualize Prophet as a person who came to this earth, who born as a man, whose language was Arabic, who was in Kaaba as a resident,
Makkah.
who took part in the battle, and Quran has described, given some names of those battles. He used to cover himself up with something whenever the revelation used to be coming to him. So, that is the best artistic concept that I gathered from the Quran about the Prophet, whom I have never met, because he was 1400 years ago.
Yeah.
But I have full faith that there was somebody called Prophet Muhammad who was in Arabia and in Makkah, and he later migrated, and then he came back again to Makkah, like this. So, that's how the
he's
artistic
considered to be the best lawgiver of the world. See,
yes,
even non-Muslims have accepted that him as a person is a great person.
Yes, and that is the identity as my conclusive part, that human identity. I started with the medical concept from the Quran. I went gradually with the philosophy of it, and gradually found that human identity can be found from the Quran, even in modern day language, from the idea of the Quran.
Right. Did you also study his last message at the farewell message, you see, at the foothills of Jabal Rahmah?
Jabal Rahmah.
He said many good things, and but it was the final message, and also he said that the Quran is with you, that's the book, and whatever you have learned from me, you have to follow that, and that the religion is complete. So, Islam as it existed then is complete, see, it does not need any additions, see. You can interpret it in any which way you like, see. I don't mean you personally, but the Quran the Islam as it was practiced, the Quran as it was understood at the time of the Holy Prophet ﷺ, it was the end, full stop. See.
I agree.
It cannot be changed.
Quran, there is no need for Quran to change. There is no need, because Quran is, it shows the ways of life. And in our ways of life, if we find contentment,
right,
in anywhere in our ways of life, that is the final achievement in our life. So I feel there is no need for the Quran to change, as if we take it, if we try to understand it, if we try to feel that it is there through which we can gain our ways of life's better side, better value we will get, and better achievement will be at the end, then why should we not have it the way it is?
True. The Quran begins with Alif Lam Mim Zalikal Kitaba La Rayba Fihi Hudan lil Muttaqin Allazina Yu'minuna bil Ghayb wa Yuqimuna as-Salat. It is, Quran indeed is the book of God. See, it's a revelation, true revelation. It is for those guidance who fear God. Fear not fear of a monster, but fear of somebody who is awesome, whom we follow. And then we have to follow these rules. And these rules are that we have to obey him. Obey what? Say the prayers, see, Aqim as-Salat. And spend from whatever God has given us, see. Then we are following the Quran. Otherwise, the interpretations of this or that kind by this sheikh or that sheikh is not needed. Our only sheikh was Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Our only message is the book, the Holy Quran.
Yes, we have to understand what was the message in our own language today, in today's language. Because if in the Quran itself it says you have to understand God's language. So if we have to understand the Quran, unless we understand, we will not have the benefit.
We have to try to understand the language of the Quran. See, a lot of people will not understand Shakespeare if they did not understand English. This is no comparison with Quran, but this is the way. See, you cannot understand Rabindranath if you do not understand Bengali. Okay. Some of the other books that our distinguished guest has published is somewhat. Can we just focus on this? This is 40 short years of Bangladesh. It's really a translation of another Bengali book about Ekushe, the history of Bangladesh, and also this book about the family person, Mirza Sheikh Ihtishamuddin. Who was he?
He was actually from the Mughal court.
He
came to this country in Britain in 1765.
The other book is something La ilaha illallah.
It is about the Hajj that my mother performed and wrote in her diary, and that was the first Bengali woman's writing
travelogue about Hajj.
Yes.
Great. It was great having you. Thank you very much for being with us and making your time.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, viewers, for being with us and watching our show, and I hope that you have enjoyed it as much as we have. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that obey my rules. The Quran is full of glad tidings, full of warnings. It's a book of advice, it's a book of rules that tells us how to live. We can understand it through trying to understand it, as our guest today has explained. So see you next week, same time, same channel. You can watch us on your mobile, online, and your television screen. Thank you for being with us. Have a safe weekend.